Hey you guys, what's up? So it's Sunday, so I figure we do some Bible stuff. We're going to go over this concept again, which is pretty important. I know I sometimes only make one or two videos about important topics because I just want to go on to the next thing, but some things we need to reiterate, okay? The book of Mark is astrotheological, okay? And what that means is it's hiding astrological symbolism, okay, throughout it, in order of the signs itself, okay? It's not just random hints here and there, it's in order to the zodiac we know today. And it's interesting to know that the book of Mark is older than the book of Matthew, historically, even though Matthew comes first chronologically, okay? So it's the oldest gospel that we have, and it just happens to have the most astrotheological stuff, and this top part kind of summarizes the best passages, but we're going to go through some of them here. So we know Aries is, the first sign, fire sign, get stuff done. Okay, Jesus is saying, I'll send my messenger and they shall prepare thy way before thee. Aries is about initiation. And then he said, there cometh one mightier than I after me, which is John talking. The latchet of shoes I'm not worthy to stoop down and unloose. And immediately Spirit drived in him, and straightway he called them, and straightway and immediately. These are kind of like impulse, go-getting adjectives that they keep using, okay? Talking about the sun did set, which is astronomical reference. Let's see. And straightway, again, and immediately, again, and arise. And there's immediately once more. And arose and, get up and get stuff done. Okay, that's Aries, basically. Taurus is more down to earth, and it rules agriculture and land. And one of the three deacons of Taurus is the teacher. So, of course, this is when Jesus begins to teach, because Taurus are real down to earth and chill. Easy to get concepts across in a simplistic way. He talks about the great multitude entered a ship, and they sat in the sea, and the sea was on the land. And he taught many things by parables, okay? And parables means to use physical things to represent ideas, okay? And Taurus is the first earth sign, so they're all about physical proof, and that's how they operate. Agricultural references is an earthy Taurus trait. Now we go to Gemini, which is Mark 4:35 to Mark 6. Gemini is the twins. They talk a lot. It's about communication. It's the sign of journalism. So he departed and began to publish the great things Jesus had done for him. Okay, and they called the 12 and began to send them forth two by two. Sign of the twins. Okay. Let's see. And they're talking about who is that? Is that Elias? The other said, no, that's a prophet or one of the prophets. So they're gossiping about who Jesus is. And Gemini is about talking and communicating through ideas. Okay. Now we go to Cancer, which is a very nurturing sign, kind of the motherly instinct sign. So Jesus shows compassion towards them. That's the first time this concept is brought up in Mark 6:30. Okay? And then he gave them the loaves of bread and the fishes. He's feeding them. He's nurturing. That's what Cancer does. They rule the body part of the breasts because that's also nurturing. Okay? Let's see. Cancer. Yeah, it's all about food and, meats and nurturing stuff. And then he goes into Leo, which is about the ego, self, pride. And so Jesus says, what does it profit a man if he gains the whole world and loses his soul? It's the warning for trying to be a king or whatever, or a high political office, stuff like that. And so, that concept is immediately brought up during that archetypal part of the zodiac. And then we go to Virgo, the virgin. He sat down, called the 12, and said, if any man desire to be first, the same shall be last of all, and servant of all. And Virgo is the sign of the servant. She's holding a grain of wheat, okay, in the stars. Okay? All right, and now we go to Libra, okay, which is about the law. And so the Pharisees came to him and asked Jesus, is it lawful for a man to put away his wife? Tempting him. It's easier for a camel to go through the eye of the needle than for a rich man to enter the kingdom of God. The sign of the scales, what's right and what's wrong. Okay, it goes into morality a little more instead of just pride itself. And then we get to Scorpio, Mark 10:32 through 52. It says, they shall condemn him to death. Scorpio is the sign of death. They shall kill him. On the third day he'll rise again. So it's foretelling Jesus' death at the very end. And he gives his life as a ransom for many. And Scorpio is ruled by Mars and Pluto. So it's the warrior, the sacrifice, the death, all that kind of stuff. Sagittarius, Mark 11. We talk about, it mentions a colt, a horse. A Sagittarius is the archer centaur, the horseman. So it's weird that a horse is mentioned at this exact point of this part. And then he calls the synagogue a den of thieves. You turn the house of prayer into a den of thieves. So Sagittarius is the sign of rebellion and the philosophical revolutions and calling people out. And this is actually when he flipped the tables over. You think of Jesus as a peaceful hippie in Jesus sandals, but he flipped the tables over because he was so upset they're gambling in a house of God. Okay, so it's pretty Sagittarian behavior in my beliefs, or in astrology as well. Astrology. Now we go to Capricorn, which is the sign of authority, political power. Okay, and by what authority can you say these things to us? That's what the rabbis are saying. Where's your authority? Because Capricorn is all about that. Let's see. Which is the first commandment of all? Moral questions concerning power and its limitations. Yeah, that's basically what that section goes into. And now we go into Aquarius, okay, Mark 13 through 14:16. Okay, it's the current zodiacal age, basically. That's when he's coming back. So that's when he's going to talk about when he's coming back. There's going to be rumors of war, but don't be troubled. Kingdom against kingdoms, earthquakes in weird places. Okay, he's during the Aquarius section of the book of Mark. He's going into the end times. So what does that tell you? It's coming soon, y'all. Let's see. Oh yeah, and then he says the Son of Man comes in the clouds, and clouds are little water bearers, technically. Okay, which is interesting. Let's see here. The act of pouring water is mentioned, talking about the box of ointment. And she broke the box and poured it on his head. So the act of water bearing, or pouring water. And then this is the most important one, Mark 14:13, which is pi backwards, 3.1415. Jesus sends forth to the disciples, says, go into the city. There you shall meet a man bearing a pitcher of water. And men didn't carry water back then. Only women did. It was not a male thing to do. Okay, follow him. Okay, so during the Aquarius age, that's when that stuff happens. And he specifically mentions the water bearer. Okay. Now the last one, Pisces, of course, is the house of betrayal, dark secrets, psychic powers, the epic culmination. Which one of you will betray me? One of you is going to betray me. That's what Jesus talks about. This stuff, exactly. They sang him a hymn, and Pisces is all about the arts. Soul is sorrowful unto death. Find them sleeping. It's the sign of dreams. The spirit's ready, but the flesh is weak. Pisces is anti-materialistic and very spiritual, usually. They go into drugs too much because their emotions are too out there and they don't know how to handle them. But who does, right? And let's see, almost there. Son of Man's betrayed. And there we go. And lastly, they clothed him in purple, which is, of course, the color of Pisces. Okay? So I'm sure there's other examples. I got this from The Gospel and the Zodiac by Bill Darlison. Amazing book. Whatever your beliefs are about the Bible or astrology, I don't care. This stuff is real. So now you have to adjust your beliefs. And by adjust, I mean grow up. I mean, we think like when we're adults, we automatically know everything. And then we don't have to question reality anymore. As adults, we should be questioning reality even more. Okay, but we're taught to do it less. I wonder why. Anyway, that's all I got for y'all today. Later.